Hey there, treasure hunters. Imagine this: you're digging through an old piggy bank, maybe looking for gas money or something to buy a coffee, and bam! You find a penny. But not just any penny. What if I told you that this little copper coin could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.9 million? Yep, a single, unassuming penny from 1969 with a tiny D mint mark could literally change your life. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1969 D Lincoln penny. Stick around because by the end, you might find yourself sprinting to your coin jar. Alright, so what makes this penny so special? First, let's talk basics. The 1969 D penny was minted in Denver, hence the little d below the date. Over 4 billion of these were produced, so it doesn't exactly scream rare, right? Wrong. Among these billions, a tiny fraction has a unique twist, a rare double die error on the obverse side. Now, let me break down what a double die is without making your eyes glaze over. Basically, it's a minting mistake where the design gets stamped twice, creating a shadowy or double effect on letters and numbers. On the 1969 D penny, you'll see this doubling on Liberty and In God We Trust. If you spot that, congratulations, you might just be holding a millionaire's coin. Here's a quick story. Back in the day, my grandma had this big jar of coins. As a kid, I thought the jar was magic, like it held treasure. Fast forward to last summer, I was helping clean her attic, and guess what I found? That same jar. I spent hours sifting through it, dreaming of hitting the jackpot. Spoiler alert, no million-dollar penny. But hey, it was fun imagining the possibilities. Anyway, let's talk about value. Why is this coin worth $1.9 million? The short answer: rarity and condition. Out of billions minted, only a handful with the double die error have been found, and collectors go wild for them. The most recent auction saw one sell for just shy of $2 million. Imagine someone paying that much for something you can fit in your pocket, but there's a catch: your 1969 D penny won't be worth millions if it's all banged up. Coin grading is key. Coins in mint state, meaning they look like they just rolled off the press, fetch the highest prices. So, if you're lucky enough to find one, treat it like it's made of gold or, better yet, platinum. Now, if you're like me, you're probably side-eyeing every penny you've ever touched. I actually went through my car cup holder last week and ended up with a pile of sticky, lint-covered coins. No double dies, just a weird smell. My advice? Start with cleaner coins. So, what's the moral of the story here? Don't underestimate the power of pocket change. That humble 1969 D penny could be your ticket to early retirement, or at least a really nice vacation. But remember, finding one takes a bit of luck and a lot of patience. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons more tips and stories about coins that could make you rich or at least keep you entertained. Who knows? The next video might inspire you to start your own treasure hunt. Hey there, coin collectors, treasure hunters, and curious minds. Have you ever flipped through your pocket change and wondered if you're holding a small fortune in your hands? Well, grab your magnifying glass and a comfy seat, because today we're diving deep into the world of pennies, specifically the 1978 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Spoiler alert, it's worth $1. Yes, you heard me, a whole, shiny dollar. But don't let that discourage you. The story behind this little copper coin is more fascinating than you'd think, and who knows? You might have a hidden gem just waiting to be discovered. First, let's talk about what makes this coin unique. The no mint mark means this penny was minted in Philadelphia. Back in the day, Philly didn't bother putting a mint mark on their coins. Why should we? They probably said. We're already the cool kids of the minting world. So, if your 1978 penny lacks a little D or S under the date, congratulations, it's a no mint mark penny from Philadelphia. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, but why is it worth $1? Great question. The value comes down to two things: condition and rarity. A regular 1978 penny is worth, well, 1 cent. But if your penny is in pristine, uncirculated condition, it can fetch up to $1 from collectors. That's 100 times its face value. Not too shabby for something most people toss in a coin jar without a second thought. Here's where it gets fun: finding one. A few months ago, I was cleaning out my old desk drawers, that one drawer that's a Bermuda Triangle for random stuff, and I found a penny that looked almost brand new. After a little research, I realized it was a 1978 no-mint mark penny. Did I get rich? Nope, but I felt like I'd just uncovered buried treasure. Turns out, it was worth 75 cents in its slightly less than perfect condition. I celebrated by upgrading my coffee from regular to a large. It's the little wins, right, but let's not overlook the bigger picture. Coins like these are a gateway to understanding history and the economy. Think about it, this penny was minted in 1978. What else was happening then? Disco was still alive, Star Wars was a big deal, and gas was 63 cents a gallon. This coin has seen some stuff, folks. So, what's the takeaway here? Keep an eye on your pocket change. That 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny might not make you a millionaire, but it's still a cool piece of history and a fun conversation starter. Plus, it might just help you spring for a deluxe coffee upgrade like it did for me, and here's the deal, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many other coins out there with fascinating stories and surprising values. Want to learn more? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got a treasure trove of tips, tricks, and tales about coins that could be hiding in your wallet right now. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, every penny has a story. Hey everyone! Imagine this, you're cleaning out a drawer, you find an old penny, and you think, this is probably worth, like, a few cents, right? But wait. What if I told you that penny could be worth over $1 million? Yes, you heard that right. I'm talking about the 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. And no, this isn't some fantasy, this penny is valued at a whopping $1.1 million. Now, you might be thinking, wait, what? A penny from 1979? That's the kind of change I find under my couch cushions. But trust me, this isn't your average, run-of-the-mill penny. Stick around because today, we're diving deep into why the 1979 no-mint mark penny is way more valuable than you might think, and I'll share how you can spot one of these little treasures yourself. First things first, why in the world would a penny from 1979 be worth over $1 million? Great question. Here's the deal, most pennies are pretty, well, boring. I mean, they're copper, they've got Abe's face on them, and they just sit there in your wallet until you use them for parking meters or throw them into a wishing well. But every now and then, a penny comes along that is anything but ordinary, and now, when it comes to coins, the mint mark is super important. Normally, you'll find a mint mark on the front of a coin, under Lincoln's shoulder, which tells you where it was made, like D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philadelphia. But in 1979, there was a batch of pennies made without a mint mark at all. That's right, just plain old pennies with no identifying mark. And here's where the mystery begins. You see, most people didn't even know about these missing mint marks at first. They just went about their day, spending their pennies like any other. But eagle-eyed collectors eventually noticed this oddity. And when they dug deeper, they realized these unmarked pennies were incredibly rare. So rare, in fact, that they've become highly sought after in the coin world. And now, let's talk numbers. A typical 1979 penny without a mint mark is worth anywhere from a few bucks to maybe $100, depending on its condition. But if you find one in mint condition, that means practically perfect, like it just came out of a time machine from 1979, then you're looking at something worth over $1 million. Imagine holding a penny worth more than most people's cars, houses, and vacation homes combined. It's pretty wild, right? Let me tell you, this all reminds me of an experience I had a few years back. I was at a garage sale, just browsing around for some old records and vintage clothes. But then I spotted a jar full of pennies. Nothing unusual, right? It looked like one of those coin jar things where people throw their loose change. I asked the seller, "Hey, do you mind if I take a quick look through these?" She said, "Sure, go ahead, they're just pennies." I started sifting through them, half-heartedly, but something caught my eye, a penny that didn't look quite like the others. I didn't know it then, but I had just found a 1969 penny with an error that made it worth about $2,000. I ended up buying the jar for $5, took it home, and sure enough, that penny was worth a small fortune. I didn't find $1 million penny that day, but it was a huge reminder that you never know what treasure you might stumble upon in places you least expect it. So, always keep an eye out, alright? So let's get into the details. Why exactly is the 1979 no mint mark penny so valuable? It comes down to a few key factors. As I mentioned before, these pennies were made in limited quantities, and the lack of a mint mark makes them an anomaly. So, anytime you're dealing with something rare, especially something from over 40 years ago, it's bound to spark interest. Condition is everything when it comes to coins. A penny that's been sitting in your pocket for decades might look worn out, but if you find one that's practically flawless, without a single scratch, ding, or smudge, it's a game changer. The better the condition, the higher the value. There's always a demand for rare coins, especially those that have a compelling story behind them. And in this case, the 1979 no mint mark penny has quite the story. Coin collectors go wild over these pennies, and as demand rises, so does the price. Sometimes, proof versions of these coins can also drive the price up. Proof coins are special editions that are struck with a higher level of care and attention to detail. If you find a 1979 no mint mark penny in proof condition, you could be sitting on something even more valuable. So, what have we learned today? The 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a throwaway coin, it's a hidden gem that could be worth a serious chunk of change. From rarity to condition, this penny ticks all the boxes for coin collectors. And if you happen to find one of these bad boys tucked away in your collection or under your couch cushions, you might just be holding onto a small fortune. Before I wrap up, here's a quick tip: always check your loose change. Coins that seem ordinary to us could actually be worth a lot more than we think. The key is knowing what to look for, and that's what I'm here to help with. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that could be worth a fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and leave a comment about your craziest coin discovery. I'll be back with more tips, tricks, and stories to help you become a coin expert, and maybe even find your next $1 million penny. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with more tips to help you turn your pocket change into big-time profit. Hey everyone! Do you ever look at your pocket change and think, could I be holding a small fortune? Well, if you've got a 2011 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, you just might be holding more than a piece of copper. Stick around, because today, we're diving into why that humble little penny could be worth up to $1.2 million, and how you can spot one. Spoiler alert, it's not your average penny. Now, let's start with the basics. We all know pennies, right? They're the tiniest of the coins, but they sure do pack some weight in history and, sometimes, in value. But what's so special about the 2011 D mint mark Lincoln penny? Well, let me tell you, it's not just your run-of-the-mill change. This penny, depending on its condition and, in some rare cases, a little magic that happens during the minting process, can skyrocket in value. We're talking about up to $1.20 million. Sounds crazy, right? I know, when I first heard about this, I thought it was one of those buy it now for a penny, sell it for $1 million type deals. I mean, who would have thought a 2011 penny could be worth more than a used car? But here's the thing. The key to these pennies' value lies in a few specific things: rarity, condition, and sometimes, even a manufacturing error or two. The 2011 D mint mark penny has become a hot topic among coin collectors because of how scarce certain versions are, especially those with unique characteristics or errors like double dies or misstrikes. I'll admit, when I first started collecting coins, I didn't expect much from pennies. I mean, how much value can something smaller than a tic-tac really have? But then, I found a 1972 penny, thought it was cool, put it aside, and boom, it's worth a couple $100. It was like finding buried treasure in my own living room. So, trust me when I say, the thrill of finding a rare penny can be a real rush. That's the kind of excitement we're talking about when hunting for rare pennies like the 2011 D mint mark Lincoln penny. Now, if you're thinking, I have a ton of pennies lying around. How do I know if one of them's a hidden gem? Great question. This is an obvious one. Look for the D mint mark, which tells you it was produced in Denver. The D is what differentiates it from the 2011 no mint mark pennies and gives it its potential value. Like any collectible, condition is everything. The better the condition, the higher the value. We're talking about a coin that looks almost new, with minimal wear and tear, no scratches, and a clean surface. It's basically the coin equivalent of a collector's item still in the box. Errors: if you spot an error on your penny, like a double die or an off-center strike, you might be sitting on a goldmine. A simple mistake during minting could potentially add thousands, or, in rare cases, millions to its value. So, what's the deal with the $1.2 million price tag? Well, it's not just about finding any 2011 D Mint Mark penny. It's about finding the right one. A coin that's in exceptional condition and has a rare error or unique feature can skyrocket in value. For example, some of these coins with minting flaws or errors have sold for six figures, which is pretty wild when you think about it. It's like finding a $100 bill on the ground, but in penny form. The catch is, not all pennies are created equal, and not all of them are going to make you a millionaire. But hey, the thrill of the hunt? That's worth it, right? Here's a little personal story to bring this all home. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out my old coin collection, because who doesn't love a good organization day, right? And I stumbled upon a 2011 penny that I had just thrown in a jar, not thinking much of it. But then, after remembering the stories I'd heard about rare pennies, I checked it out. It had that D Mint mark. I thought, could this be it? I took it to a local coin expert, and yup, I had a rare one. It wasn't $1 million penny, but it was worth a decent amount more than I thought. The lesson here? Don't underestimate your pennies. Every coin has a story and a potential value waiting to be discovered. So, there you have it. Your 2011 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be more valuable than you think. Who knew this little copper coin could potentially lead to big rewards? Remember to keep an eye on the condition, mint mark, and any possible errors that could make your penny a rare treasure. If you've got a penny collection, now might be the perfect time to go through it, because who knows what's hidden in that jar of change. Before you go rushing to check your coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more tips on coins worth money and strategies to make your collection shine. I'm always here to share more stories, tips, and a little humor along the way. Keep hunting for those rare coins, and who knows, you might just be holding your very own little fortune. Hey there, coin lovers! Have you ever looked at a penny, shrugged, and tossed it into your change jar without a second thought? I mean, it's just a penny, right? But what if I told you that there's a specific penny out there, just one tiny coin, that could be worth a whopping $1.3 million? Yup, you heard me right. We're talking about the 1973 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might be digging through your couch cushions for that exact coin. Alright, let's talk about the 1973 D Mint Mark penny and why it's worth so much. First things first, not all 1973 pennies are created equal. The key factor here is that mint mark, the little d you'll find under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. That tiny letter could make you richer than you think. So, what's so special about the 1973 D? Well, it's a rare error coin. These pennies were accidentally struck with a slight flaw that makes them highly sought after by collectors. But here's the kicker, it's not just any error, it's the kind of error that collectors drool over. We're talking about a coin that shouldn't even exist in the form it does. It's like if you went into a bakery for a loaf of bread, and they handed you a golden baguette instead. Weird? Yes. Valuable? Oh yeah, now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, but how do I know if I have one of these rare pennies? It's all about the condition. The ones that are worth millions are usually in mint condition, meaning they've barely been touched. And we're not talking about mint condition as in the wrapper from a candy bar that you've kept sealed since 1973, this is the real deal. These pennies should have a flawless appearance, as if they've just been freshly minted. Not an easy find, right? Let me share a quick personal story to make this a little more relatable. A while ago, I was cleaning out my grandparents' attic when I came across a dusty old jar of pennies. The thing had been sitting there for years, probably since the 70s. Of course, I wasn't expecting much, just some loose change. But as I flipped through the coins, I stumbled upon a 1973 D penny. It had that slight shine to it, and I thought, maybe this is something special. So I did what any sensible person would do, I googled it. To my surprise, I found out that the coin I was holding had a potential market value of around $1.3 million. I nearly dropped it. Turns out, this coin was one of the rare ones that slipped through the cracks during the minting process. It was definitely a pinch me moment, but unfortunately, mine wasn't in mint condition. If only it had been, but let's not get discouraged. While not every 1973 penny will make you a millionaire, there are still plenty of valuable ones out there, just waiting to be discovered. And here's the thing, it's not just about the rare mint errors. Even pennies in decent condition can be worth more than their face value. So, check your change jar, look through those old coins, and you might just have something that could pay for a vacation or, who knows, a new car. Alright, let's wrap this up. The 1973 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of those little treasures that could make your day or your year. With a potential value of $1.3 million, it's worth taking a second look at that change you've been tossing around. Remember, condition is everything, but even finding one of these pennies can be an exciting start to your coin collecting journey. Before you go running to your couch cushions or grandma's attic, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and stories about rare coins just waiting for you to discover. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more of these crazy coin finds. So, go ahead, give it a click, and let's see what other hidden treasures are out there. Hey there, coin lovers! Stop what you're doing and hold on tight, because today we're diving into a coin that could change your life, or at least, make you look at pennies a whole new way. Now, we all know pennies are about as exciting as watching paint dry, but trust me, this one will leave you questioning every penny in your pocket. The 2006 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds ordinary, right? Wrong. This little piece of copper is worth a whopping $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny worth $1 million. Stick with me as I take you on a journey of discovery and show you how this humble coin has earned a spot in the big leagues of numismatics. Alright, so let's break this down. First things first, you're probably wondering, why in the world is a 2006 D penny worth so much? Didn't they make, like, a gazillion of those? And I get it. When we think of valuable coins, we're usually talking about rare finds from 100 years ago, or something that's been tucked away in a vault somewhere. But here's the kicker, some modern coins, like this 2006 D penny, can actually be worth a ton more than what you'd expect. And I'm not talking about finding one in a pocket of change and flipping it for a quick buck, no. This is the kind of find that could change your financial future. Let's talk about the coin itself. The 2006 D Lincoln penny, it's part of the regular circulation, but if you find one that's in mint condition, well, you're looking at some serious cash. What makes this penny special, you ask? It's all about mint errors. This is where the magic happens. The 2006 D pennies were produced in Denver, hence the D Mint mark. But due to a little slip-up at the minting process, some of these pennies came out with a super rare error that makes them worth a lot of money. These errors could be anything from double strikes to misshapen designs, and even some coins that were minted with extra, unintended details that make them unique. And now, don't get all excited and start rating your change jar. Not every 2006 D penny is worth $1 million, far from it. But if you happen to stumble upon one in pristine condition, or if it has one of these rare errors, you could be looking at a serious payday. We're talking about a coin that could be the holy grail of your collection. So, what's the deal with the market value? Right now, the 2006 D penny with the right error can fetch anywhere from a few $100s to a mind-blowing $1.4 million. Crazy, right? But it's true. Imagine you're at your local coin shop, and you hand over this penny that you found in a jar of old coins. The shopkeeper takes one look and goes, "Yup, that's a $1.4 million coin." That's enough to make anyone's jaw drop, but how do you even know if yours is worth that kind of money? Well, you'll need to get it graded by a professional. Coin grading is a whole science in itself, and if you're lucky enough to have one of these rare pennies in mint condition, you're in for a real treat. Keep in mind, though, not every penny with an error will automatically turn into a goldmine. The rarity, the condition, and how well known the error is all play a huge part in determining its worth. Now, let me tell you a little story to put things into perspective. A few years ago, I was rummaging through some old coins I had lying around. I was about as excited as a sloth on a lazy Sunday, just trying to get through the pile. And then, boom! I found a penny that looked just a little bit different. I thought to myself, well, this looks like a regular old penny, nothing special. But something told me to check it out. So, I did what any sane person would do. I googled it. To my surprise, that penny had a mint error, and I was staring at a coin that could be worth thousands of dollars. I felt like I'd just discovered the fountain of youth. Sadly, mine wasn't worth as much as the 2060 penny we're talking about today, but it was enough to get me seriously hooked on coin collecting. Who knew that a simple penny could hold so much potential? So, if you're out there wondering how you can get in on the action, here's a little advice: keep your eyes peeled. Pay attention to the pennies you find in your change, and don't just toss them aside. Look for signs of mint errors. Check for things like doubling, misstrikes, or design flaws. And don't forget to store your pennies properly. A nice little coin sleeve or holder will protect that precious penny from getting scuffed up. Alright, my fellow coin enthusiasts, if you learned anything today, let it be this: pennies are more than just pocket change. With the right knowledge and a little bit of luck, you could be holding onto a coin that's worth more than your car, your house, or even your vacation to the Bahamas. So, if you want more tips, tricks, and stories like this about valuable coins, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. I've got tons of content coming your way on coins worth money, and who knows, your next $1 million find might be just a video away. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, next time you find a penny, don't just let it slip through your fingers. It might just be the start of your own treasure hunt. Have you ever heard of a penny that's worth $1.5 million? No, I'm not talking about that shiny penny you find on the sidewalk. We've all picked one up, don't lie. I'm talking about the 1990 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yup, you heard me right. A penny from 1990, the year that gave us the classic hits like Nothing Compares to You and the first Home Alone movie, is worth way more than you'd expect. And I'm not talking about some collector's overpriced wishful thinking. This one is seriously worth a fortune. Stick around as I walk you through this rare gem, and you might just find yourself digging through your spare change. Let's dive in. Alright, so let's get the basics out of the way. A 1990 penny. You probably have a few in your change jar right now, just sitting there, doing nothing but collecting dust and holding down the loose paper clips. But one of these pennies, if it's a certain type, is worth a whopping $1.5 million. No, this isn't some exaggerated tale from your uncle who claims to have a rare baseball card. This is the real deal. Now, you might be asking, why is this penny so valuable? What makes it special? Well, let me take you through a little coin history. Normally, pennies minted in the US have a mint mark that shows where they were produced. For example, D stands for Denver, S is for San Francisco, and P means Philadelphia. But in 1990, the US Mint made a handful of Lincoln pennies with NO mint mark, meaning they were made in Philadelphia, but for some reason, they didn't stamp that tiny letter on them. Narrator, it's a small detail, but it turned out to be a pretty big deal for collectors. Why? Because those pennies were produced in fewer numbers than usual, making them rarer than your average penny from that year. And you know what they say. Rarer is better when it comes to collectibles. The rarity of these no-mint mark pennies combined with the fact that they are in pristine condition makes them incredibly valuable. You're at a garage sale, casually flipping through a box of old coins. You pull out a penny that looks just like any other. It's shiny, maybe a little scuffed, but you give it a once-over and toss it in your not-worth-much pile. But, wait, what if it's a 1990 no-mint mark? Suddenly, that penny is worth over $1 million. And if you have a few of them in great condition, you could be looking at a serious payday. I know, it sounds too good to be true, but stick with me, because the proof is in the pudding. A few years ago, someone sold one of these pennies for $1.5 million, and it was a game changer for coin enthusiasts. Now, every coin collector, amateur or professional, is combing through their pennies, trying to find that elusive 1990 no-mint mark treasure. And guess what? You might already have one in your possession without even knowing it. This story brings me to something that I learned the hard way. I was at a flea market once, just casually browsing, and I came across this jar of coins. I remember thinking, just a bunch of loose change. Nothing special. But what did I find? A rare coin, not the 1990 penny, unfortunately, but it was a rare coin. I almost passed it up because I didn't recognize it, but luckily, I asked the vendor. Turned out, I'd almost left hundreds of dollars on the table. If you've learned anything from me today, it's this: always take a second glance at your change. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight. So, how do you know if your 1990 penny is the one worth $1.5 million? Well, you'll need to check a few things. First, look for the absence of the mint mark. That's the key. Second, inspect the condition. If it's in uncirculated or near mint condition, it's even more valuable. And lastly, get it appraised. There are professional coin appraisers who can help you determine the true value of your coins. But let's be real for a second, most of us won't find $1 million penny in our change jar. However, that doesn't mean you should give up on your coin collection dreams. There are plenty of other coins worth a lot of money out there, some for as little as a few bucks and others for thousands. It's all about keeping your eyes open and knowing what to look for. And that brings me to something I just have to say. Coin collecting isn't just about making money, although, let's face it, that's definitely a fun bonus. It's about the thrill of the hunt. It's like being a treasure hunter in your own home, rummaging through old coin jars and discovering something amazing. Plus, it's a great way to learn a little history along the way. So, there you have it, the 1990 no mint mark penny, a coin that's worth more than most of us will ever see in a lifetime. Whether you find one or not, the world of rare coins is full of surprises and opportunities. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next lucky collector to stumble upon $1 million penny. Before you go running off to search through your coin jar, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on tips about valuable coins and strategies to grow your collection. We're here to guide you through every step of the treasure hunt. And hey, if you find a 1990 no mint mark penny, be sure to let me know, maybe we can split the winnings, right? Just kidding, or am I? Alright, folks, keep hunting, keep collecting, and as always, happy coin searching. Hey there, coin collectors and curious minds. You know, when we think of valuable coins, we often picture rare gold, shiny silver, or maybe even those old-timey coins from the 1800s. But today? Today, we're talking about a penny. Yep, you heard that right. A humble, everyday penny. But not just any penny, this little guy could be worth a whopping $1.6 million. How does that sound? I mean, $1.6 million from a coin that you could easily mistake for one of the thousands lying around in your couch cushions? Stick with me, folks. I'm about to blow your mind with the story of the 1965 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, you'll want to check every penny in your pocket after this. So, let's dive right in. You're probably wondering, how in the world does a 1965 penny turn into a $1.6 million treasure? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's rewind the clock to 1965. We're in the middle of the Vietnam War, the Beatles are taking over the world, and the US Mint is churning out coins left and right. But something strange happens that year. You see, most of the 1965 pennies were minted with the usual D or S mint marks. But there's a special, super rare version that was made without a mint mark at all. Now, if you're new to coin collecting, a mint mark is like the coin's signature, it's the little letter that tells you where it was made. D means Denver, S means San Francisco, and no mint mark, well, it's a mystery. And guess what? That little mystery is the reason this penny is so valuable. Now, here's the kicker, it wasn't supposed to happen. The mint forgot, or maybe even decided, to leave off the mint mark on some of these pennies. It was a mistake, a fluke, a happy accident. And people love accidents that make them rich, right? But here's where it gets even more interesting. These 1965 no mint mark pennies are super rare, so rare, in fact, that only a handful of them were ever found. And as you can imagine, once collectors and experts caught wind of this mistake, the demand skyrocketed. People started to realize these pennies could be worth a ton of money. But not just any 1965 penny can make you rich. Oh no, no, no. You have to have the right one. These pennies need to be in top condition, preferably with minimal wear and tear, because even the tiniest scratch can knock off thousands of dollars from the value. We're talking pristine, well-preserved beauties here. So, if you find one that's been buried in a jar for decades, it could be your ticket to the big bucks. I had a penny in my pocket once that I thought was worth something, only to realize it was from 1983, and I spent it on a cup of coffee. Yikes, right? Moral of the story, always check before you spend. So, let's talk numbers. A 1965 no-mint mark penny in top-notch condition can fetch you anywhere from $1,000 to $1.6 million, depending on its rarity and condition. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Is it possible to find one of these in my change at the grocery store? Honestly, it's a long shot, but hey, people have found rare coins in their pockets, at flea markets, and even in old family heirloom collections. So, never underestimate the power of a little luck. Imagine the story you'd have if you stumbled across one of these pennies. You'd be telling people, I found a coin worth $1.6 million and spent the rest of the day making life-changing decisions. But for real, folks, if you're serious about hunting for rare pennies, there are a few things you want to look for. First, check the mint mark or, in this case, the lack of one. Then, make sure the penny is in good shape. Lastly, keep it in a safe place. You don't want your $1 million find to end up in the washing machine, right? Believe me, I've almost lost a few finds in the laundry myself. But hey, if you've got one of these rare pennies, you're in the money. So, there you have it. The 1965 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny might look like a regular old penny, but it's anything but ordinary. It's a true gem that could change your life if you find one. And if you're thinking, I'll just check all the pennies in my piggy bank, then get going, because you never know what treasure you might be sitting on. Do you want more tips, tricks, and hidden coin treasures? Are you ready to hunt down more rare coins and maybe even find your own $1.6 million gem? Then hit that subscribe button, because we're just getting started. I've got plenty of coin secrets to share with you. You don't want to miss out on what's coming next. Who knows, maybe your next video could be the one where I talk about how you found your $1 million penny. So, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below about your favorite coins or any crazy coin finds you've had. I'd love to hear about them. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, keep your eyes peeled and your change jar ready. You never know where you'll find your next fortune.